Last week, the Belize City Council and Belize Maintenance Limited (BML) were back at court over monies owed by the City Council. As you may recall, the City Council decided not to renew BML's contract, but before that occurred, there was an outstanding judgment in the millions. Today, Belize City Mayor Daryl Bradley told the media that an arrangement has been made for the payment of $15,000 a week.
We've tried to cooperate as best as possible with Mr. Ellis and also with their attorney, Mr. Shibat, in terms of ensuring that they are settled. Nobody really wants to crowfoot anybody's assets. They really just want to be paid. So that even though in terms of the crowfooting, we've always been in communication from early January, they circulated a draft settlement proposal in relation to payment terms. We went back and forth. At one point, they wanted us to pay off the monies in full. At one point, they wanted several balloon payments. We finally agreed in relation to weekly payments so that we're going to be paying them $15,000 per week for a period of approximately 3 years until we settle that arrears, and they are satisfied with that. We entered that agreement, I think, sometime last week, and I briefed the council fully in relation to that, and the council recognized that that was something that we needed to deal with. It's something that has been outstanding for some time. They're going to stop the interest running on that, so that yes, we have to pay the past interest because the thing was ignored for 10 years. But then we will deal with there wouldn't be any continuing interest, and I think our first payment under that agreement is due the 1st of April, which is today, and so that we are ensuring that we will be able to meet that amount every single week for 3 years.
And while that has been sorted out, Bradley has to ensure that all the council's employees are paid in time. He says that they had to make sure that the $310,000 is available every 2 weeks for the council's wage bill.
The wage bill is something that increasingly causes us some concern, and I know that we've had discussions with the city administrator and with the director of finance in terms of ensuring that we are able to meet that wage bill going into what we consider the slow season onto December until we come into trade license period, which is December 31st, and then property tax, which is April 1st, which are our high seasons. Like right now, the wage bill is not a problem because we are creating a surplus account, which is what we've done every year since I've been mayor, that we save in the periods of plenty, and we use that saving in the period of when we don't have our monies. I can say that the transition has worked well. I can say that there is increased services that are going on in the ground. I do regular inspections. Our sanitation manager, one of them, Mr. Percy Maria, is here. He's doing both of them, I don't see Mr. Usher, but they're doing an excellent job in terms of ensuring that on the ground that's working. But the problem with the wages, I think, will be a problem which will be with us for some time, because it's easy when you owe a third party. I shouldn't say that it's easy, but yeah. When you deal with a third party, and the problem I've mentioned perennially with City Council is not necessarily a cash problem. At the end of the day, we always equalize our bill.
Bradley says that since the year they have been in office, they have been able to increase the council's revenues.
When we took office, the City Council, roughly, the annual budget was about inflows and outflows was about $18.5 million. $18.5 million. The current budget is around $22.5 million, inflows and outflows, so that the City Council has, of course, grown in terms of our outlays. A significant cost now is the increase in the wage bill, which has gone from $180 to $310. But we have managed to compensate that by growing revenues, and I would emphasize that those revenue growths are without any increase in taxes. It is as a result of initiatives like these. When we say that we closed that the arrears bill, that $10 million that was owed to the City Council by 27%, that's roughly like $3 million that we've collected in back taxes. so that those things add to our bottom line without increasing any new revenue sources. We've also gotten a healthy inflow from donations. We've partnered in significant ways with international projects, like with CariLed. We've gotten heavy donations from corporate sponsors like Boyne & Boyne, who have contributed to some of the infrastructures throughout Belize City. So on a whole, the City Council has grown from an $18.5 million organization to a $22.5 million organization in roughly the span of about 3 years.